What message is your social media sending to your drivers or future drivers? In this episode of Driven Too Far, The Truth About Trucking, we'll show you how to improve your social media and the insight it provides to a carrier's culture. Hello, I'm Andrew Winkler, and this is Driven Too Far, The Truth About Trucking, a podcast that helps over-the-road truck drivers balance career and family. One of the things we encourage drivers to do when they're thinking about maybe looking for a new company to drive for is really do your research and get out there and see what you can learn about the companies you're considering applying for. And one of the best ways to do that is really jump on the social media platforms of those companies you're looking at and see what you can learn about the company. The social media platforms a lot of times are really good insight and indication of what's happening behind the scenes at those carriers. Recently, I decided to do just that, and I jumped on Facebook and I decided I know a lot of good carriers out in the marketplace and do a really good job and run good operations. So I'm curious what their social media is going to tell me about them. So the first one I jumped on, I remember it was almost like mugshot after mugshot after mugshot. And what they were doing was they were putting up their new hires, driver hires for everyone to see in the company. And while I think their intent was good, welcoming those new people into their company, when you scroll and scroll and scroll, and that's all you see is new hires, there's nothing special about the pictures. They told the driver, here, stand against this wall and let me get your picture. And then they post it along with the driver's name and say, welcome to the team. What it made me think from the outside was, geez, is that all these guys do is just hire drivers and drivers and drivers? What kind of turnover problem do they have there? I have another flatbed company that's, I'd say just down the road, but they're probably 100 miles away, something like that. And, they're probably a little bit questionable of just because I know what caliber of drivers they hire a little bit. So I says, well, let me see if they've got a Facebook page. So I found it and I jumped on it. And theirs was completely trucks. That's all you saw. Now, they run some nice looking stuff. So I can see where a potential driver would see that, and you would definitely be interested if you're all about trucks. And we're talking long nose, square nose, type Peterbilts, stacks, flat tops, a lot of them, just super sharp trucks. But the one thing I didn't see, and I usually try to go back like maybe a month or two into their social account, the one thing I didn't see was people at all. So to me, that was really screaming, I get it. These guys are all about their trucks. They're really trying to promote their lease program and get drivers in there to drive these big fancy trucks. But there was nothing in the background about the actual company and the people that work there and the technicians and the dispatch team and things like that. So from my point of view, I was probably really concerned about that, what that was telling me about what would it be like to work in that particular company. To me, it felt pretty cold. It was all about the equipment, nothing about people. When I came to my company roughly 5 years ago, of course, I jumped on the social to see what they were doing with Facebook and stuff. And I distinctly remember they were really good about birthdays and anniversaries. They'd throw in an occasional meme or a joke or something like that, a funny picture, something like that. But that's all that was there. And while you definitely want to recognize people that have been with your company and wish somebody happy birthday on their special day, social media really needs to be so much more than just that. Because again, what I wasn't seeing was the activity behind the scenes. I couldn't tell what was it like to work with that dispatch group or safety. Did they have some kind of safety culture? What kind of trucks did they run? I didn't see anything like that either. So the birthdays and anniversaries are great, but I'm just going to tell you that's probably an organization where whoever was doing their social media, they just didn't quite get it. Or maybe they didn't know what to post, so that was something they came up with. But when you just scroll and that's all you see is birthdays and anniversaries, I think people are going to lose interest in that company and in that Facebook page pretty quickly. How about advertisement after advertisement? If you were to jump on somebody's Facebook page and you were thinking about going to work for this particular carrier and all you saw was driver ad, or maybe you're hiring bonuses or something like that, what would that make you think? To me, it would make me think that they're probably in trouble and they're just constantly trying to hire drivers, and that's all they're focused on at the time. It may be even a sign of desperation just a little bit. We've talked in previous podcasts about sign-on bonuses and the dangers there. I know my philosophy is that if you're running a solid company, you don't need sign-on bonuses. Those are really left for carriers who are maybe struggling quite a bit, and they need to do something fast to bring drivers through the door, get them in orientation and things like that. And it's always that lure of money. So same thing goes for their Facebook page. If that's all you're seeing is sign-on bonuses, driver ads, things like that, it might be an indication that there's probably more problems behind the scene going on in that company. We've got a big carrier down the road from us, and when I'm talking down the road, I mean down the interstate kind of thing. But they do things really well. I really respect these guys. I think they run a top-notch trucking company. Now, their social side of stuff, I don't know. It probably works for them, but what I saw in there was a lot of homemade videos, like meaning video updates, maybe from senior leadership or something like that. And I certainly appreciate that, because what I think they're doing is trying to really keep their team abreast of what's going on in the company, what's going on with shippers, or maybe growth initiatives, things like that. So I think the intent was really good. But when that's all you see, again, to me, it was like the company was missing some personality. And maybe it gets like that when you get to larger companies, larger carriers that are running thousands of trucks. It's probably really hard to keep that that warm personality and stuff. So maybe that's the problem there. But again, if I was a driver and I saw that, there's a lot of things I would appreciate on those. But I would also probably come to the conclusion that if I go there, I'm just going to be a number. It was pretty clear that's what it was. So what should a social media account or platform look like? What would you like to see in it? Well, I'll tell you from our point of view, my point of view, the social media account should really be an extension of the personality of that company. So when you open somebody's Facebook is the most popular. When you open somebody's Facebook page, you should really be able to get a feel for what it would be like if I were to go to work for that company. How would I feel about that? So I'm talking, first off, we see a lot of pictures of the people inside the office along with drivers. So it's got to be a combination of both. If you're only seeing drivers, or if you're only seeing office staff or something like that, it kind of makes you wonder if the company, is operating in silos and the two groups don't like each other. But when you start to see warm pictures of fun events going on, I think that's a great indication that company actually has something going on behind the scenes. They've got a personality. They actually care about their people, their drivers, their office staff, whatever that is. And it's very clear through those pictures and the posts in social media. How about involvement in local community or charity? That would certainly be something I would love to see on somebody's posts, because it tells me they're more than just about their own business. They're out in their community. They're an active part of their community, and the staff or the drivers are participating in that as well. And in our case, a lot of times what we do is we listen to our employees. It's like, what's important to you and where should we be spending our time? Or we're going to spend X amount of time outside the office this year, or maybe even donating some funds or something like that. We try to listen to our team to figure out what they think is important. Is it the local animal shelter? And in fact, we just did that a few months back. We had a day where we went in and we just cleaned the local animal shelter. We're talking the landscape outside the building and some things like that. And we mowed and weed eated, and then we got to go in and play with the puppies and stuff for a little bit. So those are the kind of things that we think are important on social media to show our personality at our company. While the birthdays and anniversaries are a great start, I think it needs to be a little bit deeper than that. So what other kind of recognition things do you do at your company? Are you recognizing drivers for milestones? Are you nominating your drivers for awards, whether it be through your state or national trucking associations, that type of thing? Are you participating with your drivers in certain events that are held for at the state level? I think about the truck driving championships come up every summer. Not only do we get a team of drivers, together there, we have volunteers from the office that want to go out and volunteer for the day at the event, and we barbecue and we throw up tents, and we don't just feed our team. If somebody else comes by and they need a burger or brat, we're happy to do that. And we love to capture photographs. So those are the moments that are special within our company, and that's exactly what we want people to see. Is the company doing something forward-looking in the industry? So, it's not just enough to exist in this industry. It's like you need to be, where's the innovation and what's the future of trucking look like? What does the future of trucking look like with you in it, meaning your company? And what are you doing to push the envelope there? So if your company's doing something special out there, I hope you're capturing all those moments with your people and the innovation. One of the things we take great pride in, and you would see on our Facebook page, is our involvement with the local community colleges that are developing the next generation of CDL drivers. So it wouldn't be uncommon for the schools in our area to come visit us once a month or, one time each class. We ask them, instead of us sending a recruiter to the class and giving a 30-minute spiel about, look how great we are, we said, why don't you guys do something different? You guys need some road time anyway. Well, why don't you road trip to us and we'll bring you in. We'll put on a demonstration for you. We'll give you a tour of our facility and what we're all about. And then we'll sit down and feed you some lunch. And then we'll just have some time to sit down and visit and see if we can get some conversation going with these student drivers and what's important. What's it going to be like my first year of driving, or what should I expect? If I come to work for you as a carrier, what does that look like? How does my pay increase over the course of that first year? So we do a lot of interactive stuff with the schools. We have great relationships with the instructors at each of those schools, and we're grateful for them as well, taking their time and their students and bringing them in so we can kind of showcase what we do. But we definitely feel like we do a step above the rest. Capture all that, whether it be on video or photographs or whatever. We make sure we get that up on our own Facebook or social platforms, and then we certainly share all those things with the schools as well in hopes that they will take it and put it on their social platforms too. Need to make sure that the culture or the photos you're seeing isn't limited to just drivers. Again, it should show you what's it like to work in the shop. What's it like for a driver to work with the technicians in the shop? How about your safety group, your recruiters, of course, your operations and your dispatch people? Do they like drivers? Are they inviting? Is it warm environment with drivers? If I were telling you the truth about the company I work for, when I started there 5 years ago, again, it was kind of a cold environment, and it didn't take me long to figure that out. The doors were closed in dispatch, and drivers were kind of sequestered to a certain area of the building. And, if they wanted to come into the administrative offices or in dispatch or safety or anywhere else, it was almost like they had to ask permission. And I thought that was a horrible message to send to drivers. That's not what it should be like. If we're truly going to be a team and a family, then the campus should be wide open to the drivers and have same access that everybody else does. So you'll see that in our facility, a lot of interaction with drivers in different parts of the building. You see a lot of smiles. We love to see that as well. That tells me, and the one thing that I keep hearing, my office is kind of in the back corner of the building, but I can hear what's going on in the rest of the building, and I hear a lot of laughter, and I absolutely love that. That tells me we're doing the right things. That tells me we're having a good time with our people, with our drivers, everything, and we're doing our best to make it a fun and inviting place to work. Does the carrier ever post anything outside the business itself? We also run some private pages for drivers and staff, but in the public pages where everybody can see it, we think it's just as important to make sure that we get to share pictures of you and your family. There's nothing better than kids and grandbabies and puppies, right? Everybody, those always seem to get the most likes and interaction anytime you post something like that. But we certainly encourage that because we think that's important. We want your family to be part of it too. If they've got something they want to share, if you've got a child that's had a great accomplishment or you're proud of them, maybe they're graduating, something like that, heck, it's all fair game, and we love to have it on our platforms for sure. So it's really critical that you find the right fit when you're out there looking for your next carrier to drive for. And I think you just got to, again, the social is a great place to start. You got to jump in there and see what you can learn about these companies. Some of them just don't understand the power of social media and what they can do with it. And then some of them just probably are not the most friendly companies to work for in the first place. So you got to ask yourself, if I go to work for that company and I'm looking at their Facebook page, am I just going to end up as another mugshot on their Facebook page, or can I see myself immersed in that culture? Did I get a warm feeling from what I saw on their Facebook page or their social platforms, and can I picture myself in that environment? Thanks for joining us on this episode. Check us out at driven2far.com, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.